What are you cooking today, Miss Martha? Happy Valentine's Day to you. I'm making beef stroganoff. I'm using a thinly sliced sirloin, which I'm going to chop up, slice up even thinner little pieces to go into my stroganoff. I've got onions, peppers, mushrooms. I've got wheat flour, semolina flour that I'm going to use, and eggs. That's the wheat flour, semolina flour, and the eggs. That's going to be my pasta version of the dish. I've also got some Queso blanco cream to help make the stroganoff, the sauce, whipping cream, a little bit of beef broth, other seasoning. Now the dry seasoning packet that I have here, I'll show you when I get to that part. I'm going to mix up a little bowl that's going to have a little bit of all of that in that, because after I have made my pasta and I've put that out, sliced to size and portions that I want to use, I'm going to dry it over here. I'm going to put it on paper towels, set that somewhere else in the kitchen so it can air dry. Then I'm going to move to slicing up the beef and the other vegetables. In my skillet on the stove, I'll have a little olive oil in it. I'm going to do the onions and peppers first, and I'll take those out of the skillet, transfer them to a bigger Dutch oven type pot. Then I will do the mushrooms, transfer those out. Then I'll do the beef. Then I'll transfer that out. But each stage, when I'm putting them in the skillet, I'm going to put a little bit of the seasoning blend on them so everything has the right season profile, flavor profile through the entire dish. Then, once I've got those in the larger saucepan, is when I'm going to make the sauce to go on top of that so that can be simmering. At the last minute, I'm going to go ahead and start a larger pot with just water in it, and we will drop our boiling water. We will drop our noodles in to cook. They won't take long, 7 minutes or so for those to cook. I will drain those, the pasta, I will put it in. I'm going to use the disposable pans because those 9x13 Pyrex dishes, they get so heavy sometimes coming in and out of the oven. But I will put the pasta in the bottom of the pan. I'll put the meat, the stroganoff portion, on top of the noodles. I'll top it off with a little bit of dried cheese, Parmesan, Osago, Romano on top. And then Bob's your uncle. It's going to just go in the oven and stay warm till my husband gets home from work. And he has a little side right there when he's in the door and he's ready to eat. I've got some fresh broccoli. I'm just going to add a little water to that, bring that up to a steam and cut that right off because he likes his broccoli firm. So we've got beef stroganoff with a side of broccoli for dinner tonight on Valentine's Day. If you look back through my videos yesterday, I made a chocolate assassin cake for Valentine's Day, which has 6 different kinds of chocolate in it. So we've already got dessert, got the chocolate part of Valentine's Day covered. I'm going to pause the video right now, move some of the stuff out of the way so I can concentrate on the pasta. Because the first thing I have to do is get that made and let that set off to dry. And then we'll pick back up with the other portions of the meat. So just give me a second, go get you a cup of coffee and have a little, I'm sure you got some chocolates for Valentine's Day. Indulge, have a little piece of chocolate with your coffee, and Miss Martha will see you in just a minute. Okay, I've organized things better so I can concentrate on making the pasta or the noodles right now at this point. I'm going to need 1.5 cups of the wheat flour, 1.5 cups of the semolina flour, 1/2 teaspoon of celery salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of white pepper. I'm going to make like a little volcano with a little hole in the middle of it, and then I'm going to put my 4 eggs in the middle, and we'll pick back up from there. And I'm going to, I've got the KitchenAid over there. You're supposed to use the paddle attachment and mix it first when it starts coming together, then add the dough hook in it. That's a lot I gotta wash. That's extra dishes to wash. I'm gonna do it by hand over here, old school way, which is what I've always done. I don't have the pasta attachment. That thing costs like $300 some to go over there. I keep thinking I want to add it to a Christmas list or Mother's Day or a birthday wish list when people ask me what I want. And then I always find some other way where, when you're an older married couple and you've had your home, you pay for you own your home, there's always something that you're going to have to fix on the home. So I'm kind of like, no, I'll put that toward, fixing the picnic table out back or something. So one day I'll end up with a pasta attachment just for the heck of it. We'll see. I'll pick back up with you in just a minute. Okay, so I'm using my pastry cutter to work the egg into the flour. It's almost, can you see? It's almost ready. I'll make a little dough ball. Yeah. I'll come back to you when I got that ready. I have a little all-purpose flour off to the side over here. Keep it from sticking off to my hand so I can work everything into a dough ball here. It's a long dish, so I'll save time on the video. Okay, I'm gonna put my dough, I'm gonna put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the refrigerator, let it chill. I'll move to one of the next steps. Okay, my dough is resting in the refrigerator. I'm gonna flip my cutting board over so I have a clean surface. First I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse and pat dry the meat. I'm going to slice it really thin. Then I'm going to rinse off my cutting board and my knife. And I'm going to dice up the mushroom, then I'll dice up the peppers, and then I'll peel and I'll dice up the onions, and I'll pick back up with you guys. Because by the time I get all that ready, it'll be time to roll out the pasta and set that aside and let that dry, and then we'll move on and start cooking the stroganoff part of it. Okay, so my onions, my peppers, my mushrooms, and my steak, my sirloin, that's all been diced and cut. Now I've got to get the pasta out the refrigerator and I'll roll out my noodles. Can you see? Alright, I've got a little plain flour here. Let's have time for the gluten to work in. I'm going to use a pizza cutter instead of a knife at this point in time. I've got my little tray with the paper towels to put it on. I need to put something under a towel to keep my pastry board from sliding all over the counter. I'll be right back. Alright. I do need a knife for a second though. I'm not going to roll it all. I'll roll it in. Let's see. Cut that in half. Then half again. Alright. Just move that out of the way. Put a little flour over the rolling pin. This into a nice little oblong shape. And let's hope I got the hand straight to roll this out. Okay. I'll get there, but this is gonna take some time. That's why, one of these days I'm gonna be greedy and I'm gonna ask for that pastry cutter, pastry roller, what's it called? Pasta attachment that goes on the KitchenAid. Work harder, not smarter, Miss Martha. I know why it's so hard. It just came out the refrigerator. It's got to get back to room temperature so it'll be easier rolling. So I'm gonna wash my hands off and we're gonna move to the mixing of the spice rub right now. By that time, my dough will be easier to roll. So Miss Martha, wash your hands and we'll pick back up. Okay, let's measure out our seasonings. Now I've got the onions and the peppers, I've got the mushrooms, and I've got the steak. That's 3 different panfuls that gonna need just a light seasoning. So once I get this all mixed up, I'm going to use probably 3/4 of a teaspoon will be sprinkled on each skillet fry till we move those items out of the way, and then the remainder of it will go into the sauce. So I'm going to use 4 times. It's going to look like it's a lot, but it's really not that much because the only thing you need to concern yourself with is your sodium content when you're making your fresh stroganoff versus buying a hamburger helper one. So let's watch our sodium. I've got a lot of ingredients, and so I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of salt. If you watch any of Miss Martha's cooking, you know that my husband loves black pepper. So we're going to go 2 teaspoons of black pepper. I've got onion powder. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 teaspoons of onion powder. My garlic powder, I'm switching to a tablespoon because with all the chopping that I've already done today and then all this rolling, all this cutting here, I don't have the energy left to have to squish and mince and peel and all. Garlic as well. That's one of the things I hate to do. I know you're supposed to put it between 2 bowls and shake it like this. That never has worked for me. It's like one of those TikTok videos where they put peppermint candies in a waffle iron and it comes out looking, what's that called? That's a prank video. So here, we're going to use 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of garlic powder. Back to the teaspoon. I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of ground thyme. I'm going to use a whole teaspoon of mustard, dry mustard powder. Come on, get out of there. There we go. I'm going to use a half a teaspoon of, this is a Hungarian hot paprika, which is one of my favorite paprikas. Half a teaspoon of that, just to give it a little bit of kick. And I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of basil leaves. You got your little toy with mommy to play with you? I'm almost getting to a point where I can play. So it's just a matter of mixing this all together. And it's not really a rub, because I'm not rubbing it into the meat. It's once I'm going to put some olive oil in the pan, put the items in that I'm working on, sprinkle a little seasoning on top, flip that around just till they soften up, move those out to the main Dutch oven, and then put the next in the skillet, and the next in the skillet, and the next in the skillet. So this will go over to the stove. We're going to pick back up and see if Miss Martha's got enough, oomph to her that she can roll this dough out. I might have to call in reinforcements. I probably would have gotten it thinner if I had used the KitchenAid pasta attachment, which I do not have. So, you see, it's as thin as I can get it with my old arthritis hands. I'm just going to take the pizza cutter, we're just going to run on down it and cut us some little fettuccine-like strips. Then we'll take them from here. I've got me a sheet with paper towels on it. Take one from the cutting board. A little harder than that, going through it. There we go. And we're going to put them over here on the paper towel. Okay. I'll pick back up with you. I've got this batch and I've got 3 more to roll out, but it's okay. I'm good on time. It's only 3 o'clock. My husband, I can get up for another 2 hours, so I got all day to enjoy myself. When Miss Martha pauses the camera, I go ahead and take the computer and I cut the Spotify on in there, and I play and I enjoy and I listen to whatever music I'm in the mood for. I have to cut it back off before I unpause the camera, because I have seen people that they sit there and they take the whole video down, or they silence and mute the video because they say, do not own copyright to this song. So I'm not going to have any music playing in the background. You're going to hear my parakeets over there, and you're going to hear my chihuahuas. That's going to be my musical accompaniment when I'm recording the video. So it's time for you to have another cup of coffee. I bet I'm going to get some Diet Coke over there, and I'm going to keep rolling the heck out of these noodles. See you in a minute. Okay, my noodles have been rolled and ready. They're air drying. We're going to move over to the stove now. Okay, we're going to cut the burner on high heat here. Add a little olive oil in this pot. A little olive oil bottle in this one. Go ahead and put our onions and peppers in here. I can move some stuff off the counter. Which spoon does Miss Martha want to use? Alright. We're just going to keep moving these around till my onions go clear. And then I'll add a teaspoon of my seasoning to it. And I'll remove the contents of this pan, put it over to here. Then I'll put my mushrooms in, let those break down a little bit, add a teaspoon of seasoning to it, move those over, and then I'll do the meat. And at that point in time, everything will be into the sauce pot here. I'll bring the other ingredients over that are going to make the stroganoff creaminess of the sauce. And I'll put a big pot of water on the bowl and I'll cook my noodles. Then the noodles will go into the pan. The meat and vegetable sauce will go on top of that. A little bit of Parmesan cheese, and it'll go in the oven to stay warm until my husband gets home from work. And I'll cut his broccoli on at the last second for him. So, whew, all the hard work's done for Miss Martha. It's been 15 minutes. 15 minutes for you guys. It's been 2 hours for me. So I'm gonna pause the video and work on this, and then we'll pick back up. Okay, when the onions have cooked down, it's time to transfer them to the other pot. Whew. Stephen fogged up my glasses. A little more olive oil in that pan, and the mushrooms will go in. This pot's not on yet over here. Okay, pick back up. Okay, I deglaze the pan with the mushrooms in it with just a little bit of low sodium beef broth, maybe a 1/3 cup. So now my mushrooms have cooked down. I'm going to move them out of the skillet over to the big pot. With all the juice. Okay. Some fresh olive oil back in my skillet. Give that a chance to heat up. Good job, puppy. The meat's going in. Spoonful of my seasoning we mixed up earlier. I'm not going to try to cook this all the way through. I'm just browning the outside so it will soak up the sauce. I'll save time on the clock. Okay, almost have all the red gone on the meat. I'm going to take the beef, I'm going to transfer it into this pot. I'm going to put this over the sink, run a little water in it, and then I'm going to, just so it doesn't burn my sink mat, and then I'm going to bring my big pot of water over here and put that on high to boil that the noodles are going to go in. So we'll pick back up. You're sitting there saying, my gosh, that's a big pot of water. Well, you know what? These little noodles, they're kind of fragile, and I don't want them jammed up against everybody. So once the water comes to a boil, we'll add our hybrid egg noodle fettuccine pasta to the pot to boil for the stroganoff. Oh, got a few minutes. We're going to come back over here and let's make the sauce, the creamy sauce for the meat and vegetable portion. Let me bring the items over. Okay, I'm still waiting for the water to come to a boil for the noodles. Over here in this pot we've got our sauteed peppers, onions, mushroom, and sirloin. Let's add our seasoning to that. Now it's had, each time that it was in the skillet, a little bit of the spice on it. I've got right much of it left, and I'll just put it in a Ziploc bag what I don't use. I don't want to add any more until I get the sauce formulated, and then we'll do a seasoning check to see does it need any more garlic powder and salt, whatnot. But right now we're going to add some kitchen bouquet, 1 tablespoon. Worcestershire, 1 tablespoon. I have this. Instead of the powdered bouillon, I'm turning around so you can see, it's a cream-based paste. Get a clean spoon going. I'm going to use 1, 2 heaping teaspoons of that. That all stirred together. Let me get my measuring cup. Save the lid because I don't think I'm going to need all of the beef broth. We're going to go 1 cup of the beef broth, low sodium beef broth, 1 cup. I have the heat now is on a medium to low. Let's shake up the whipping cream. 1 cup of that. Get this stirred again and we'll pick back up. All right, everything's incorporated and stirred together. Let's give it a little seasoning check. I'm not going to eat the meat yet because it's not cooked all the way through. That's really good. I'm going to add just 1 more teaspoon of my seasoning blend. It's a tablespoon, so it's be a teaspoon worth. Put the rest of this in a Ziploc bag back down in the pantry. And this will just simmer away so the meat can finish cooking all the way through. My water's almost come to a boil here. It only takes about 7 minutes for the pasta to cook. And right before I take the pasta out, I've got 2 12-ounce little containers of queso blanco. You could use some sour cream if you wanted to, but I like a little kick around things here. A little bit of spice, less salt, more spice. And that's how we control our blood pressure and cholesterol. All right, I'll pick back up when it's time to add the noodles to the water. Noodles going in. Lay them down in there gently. Try not to lay them on top of each other. I want them to have room to cook. I shouldn't have to disturb them until it's time to ladle them out with a holy spoon. My little precious babies, I worked so hard on you. Okay, we'll pick back up in a little bit. Pasta's floated to the top, so it's not much longer on that now. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is add my queso blanco into my stroganoff meat vegetable mixture. Okay, we're going to move over to the counter, and I'm going to divide the noodles up between my 2 baking dishes, and then I'll divide the stroganoff sauce between the 2 baking dishes, put a little Parmesan cheese on it, and it'll go in the oven to bake for 30 minutes. So we'll move over to the counter. Pasta's in. Now I've got to put the meat stroganoff mixture on top of the pasta. The oven's preheating at 375 degrees. Last thing to do is put the Parmesan cheese on top of the 2 casserole of beef stroganoff dishes. And I won't cut his broccoli on the stove to boil until he's ready to sit down to eat, because that just takes a few minutes to steam, and then put a little pat of margarine on that. He's good to go with that. I'll let my thumbnail be the finished picture, because I've been working all day. I got to take clothes out the dryer, take the dogs out, so I can't let the camera be my phone paused another 30 minutes. But thank you for watching. The recipe will be with all of the ingredients and the direction steps on Miss Martha Loves to Cook, my YouTube digital cookbook. Happy Valentine's Day to you. I hope you had some chocolate.